My 31 female, husband 33 male, stayed with his HS ex-girlfriend during the massive Texas winter storm. My spouse and I both grew up in Denton, which is located northwest of Dallas. We attended to the same high school but didn't meet until we were both living in a different city after college. I believed we had a wonderful marriage. Backstory: in high school, I couldn't tolerate him. He was a member of this gang, which also included his ex-girlfriend, who had been my sworn nemesis since elementary school. Almost everyone from high school bowed along when we saw them, but she remained absolutely wicked, and our rivalry resurfaced every time we returned to Denton. He used to taunt me about it, but I didn't care since I despised her. Let's go back to the tremendous storm. It just so happened my spouse was in Dallas for business that week. I don't recall the exact day, but he phoned and said the power was out, he didn't have a mobile phone battery, his trip had been canceled, and he was going to attempt to meet friends in Denton, about an hour away. When he arrived home, he said that everything went well but was fairly unremarkable. That meant he didn't want to speak about it, which I understood to indicate he didn't want to talk about it. No issue. I was relieved that he was safe and at home. Fast forward to yesterday, and word had spread across Denton and back to me that he had never left Dallas and had instead remained at his ex-house. Girlfriends who lives in Dallas proper now. I was so enraged that my brain almost burst because I felt so duped. I contacted my closest friend in Denton to find out what she knew, and she informed me that his ex-girlfriend had visited town and casually stated that my husband had shacked up with her and was her storm buddy. I was furious. I was about to pack up and go, but I waited for him to come home, and although he was calm, I wasn't. He said that if he had attempted to go to Denton, he would have perished since the situation in Dallas was so awful and the roads were so inaccessible. He said that her flat was within walking distance of where he was and that she was the very last choice. He said that due of their past, they decided straight away that they would be in completely different rooms the whole time he was there and would not even be in the kitchen together. I asked him why he didn't tell me, and he said he'd never seen me so upset over anything related to her, so he believed it was better to be honest and answer my inquiries. But I'd never asked whether he made it to Denton or who he stayed with. True, I guess. I'm so enraged about this that furious doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. But I don't want to make any foolish choices because I'm so enraged. What exactly do I do here? Why did he tell the truth? Thank you to everyone who has contributed thus far. I haven't talked to my husband and am hiding out in our second bedroom because I'm frightened of what I'll say to him. But then I got this email from her. Names changed obviously. Dina, I sincerely apologize for my conduct over the last several days, and I believe we should clear the air regarding recent occurrences. Amber Smith informed me that you are upset with Tony since he remained in my flat throughout the storm. I'm also assuming you're upset with me. She also informed me that you are considering leaving him because of this. I'm not sure what you've heard or what Tony has told you, but I vow to my children that nothing occurred between us and that he only remained with me out of necessity. I get how horrible this seems, particularly given our past, but please hear me out before you do anything dumb and abandon a fantastic person. You're probably unaware that Roger and I split up because he cheated on me with many women. It shattered me in ways you can't comprehend, so I absolutely understand how you feel when you fear anything has occurred. It wounded me so much that I vowed never to make another lady feel that way. Again, you are not an exception to this rule. I adore Tony for all he was in my life and for our relationship, but I have the highest respect for his marriage, even with me and your past. Tony contacted me, saying he was trapped in the midst of downtown with a dead mobile phone, and it turned out he was only minutes away from my flat, and he came over to charge his phone and make calls at first. When things worsened and he couldn't make it to Denton, I invited him to remain with me. I was very busy for 2 days, so we just exchanged 2 words the whole time he was here. Nothing occurred when he was in my son's room. I'm not sure what's going on in your home right now, but I hope this makes sense in light of what Gregory told you. I know he was open and honest with you, as he usually is, and I hope my recounting of events helps to clear your mind a little. I would never cheat on your spouse or any other guy. I understand how you feel. Update. This may be a lengthy update, so please bear with me, but I learned so much from this sub and the comments on my last post that I wanted to bring everyone up to speed on what actually occurred, why it transpired the way it did, and how we intend to handle situations like this in the future. One thing I probably tickled you with in my last piece was how furious I'm capable of being. I'm going to approach and perhaps cross the line into wrath. I'm not proud of this at all, and I believe this episode demonstrates how much my actions have harmed the people I care about. My husband is a 6'4" jiu-jitsu man, and 5'2". He loves me, but he's also terrified of me. That was a really sad and eye-opening discovery, and I'm going to find out how to fix my problems. So, according to him, he was checking out of his hotel on his way to the airport when he received notification that his flight had been canceled. His iPhone charger was not functioning. It is extremely frayed. So he contacted me to let me know he wouldn't be home and then began calling back to the hotel, which was already full, and folks we knew in the neighborhood. He contacted our buddy Jonathan, who informed him that his ex-girlfriend, Dina, not actual name, resides approximately 2 minutes away from where he was in the downtown area. He contacted her, and she invited him to come over to charge his phone and work things out. He arrived at her apartment and phoned my parents, brother, and sister's husband, who all warned him to remain off the highways and not attempt to reach Denton. He made additional calls, but as the situation worsened, he realized he should probably just remain put. Dina said that her children were with their father and that he may remain in her son's room. He said they didn't connect much since she was preoccupied with job and making sure her children and family were safe. When I questioned him why he didn't tell me, he essentially responded that he was afraid of how I would react and believed it was better to lie by omission than risk getting upset from me, particularly given my past with Dina. We spoke for a long time, and I had to acknowledge to him that I would have been unhappy, which I was. We had a lengthy conversation. My reflexes, on the other hand, need to be improved. As well, we talked about how I believe he needs to improve his communication skills because his approach of no news is good news isn't working for me, and how I emotionally got through him being in the middle of a killer storm with no communication because I'm used to it, not because it's right or because I prefer it that way. We also talked about how he should improve his communication skills because his approach of no news is good news isn't working for me. That doesn't mean, of course, that I shouldn't be concerned when he delivers a bad piece of news to me. Many of you were perplexed as to how he obtained her phone number and how she obtained my email account. To be honest with you, most of us are friends with the same people back home, and we've been communicating via group SMS and email chains for well over a decade. She has given me her phone number, which isn't saved since she has a pretty excellent name, and I could easily get her email address if needed. So that part isn't all that out of the ordinary. It took a lot of soul searching for me to figure out why I despised her so much when, in the end, she did something very beautiful for the husband of a woman who hasn't been especially kind to her for more than 2 decades. I'm not sure whether I would have done the same thing for her if the situation had been reversed. When Denton was living with her, she made sure to let everyone know about it. I really apologize for what she did. Although she may have used terms such as shacking up and storm buddy, I'm not sure whether this is true or if the local gossips made it up to make her seem bad. Our dispute has provided years of entertainment and gossip for everyone who has remained in contact with us despite the fact that we are all friends with the same people who I like. So, once again, thank you to everyone for their help and support. I have a lot of work to do on myself, and maybe the greatest irony of it all is that the person I despise the most in my life may be the one who motivates me to become a better version of myself. The reason for not driving to another friend's house has been questioned by a large number of individuals. In the first instance, everyone encouraged him to avoid traveling on major roads if at all possible. In addition, I'm not sure how many people are aware of how huge DFW is. Back when I was a youngster, it took more than 2 hours to go from our side of town to my grandparents' home in Terrell, which is also a part of the Dallas-Fort Worth area.